Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing great. Let the story begins. Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse. Life as a demigod never gives you a moment to breathe. And just when I thought things were finally calming down, a frantic late-night phone call from my best friend Grover plunged me straight back into the nightmare. He had located two powerful new half-bloods at a strict military boarding school in Bar Harbor, Maine. But danger was closing in fast. A monstrous vice principal named Dr. Thorne, who was secretly a terrifying scorpion-tailed manticore, was hunting them down. Annabeth, Thalia, and I raced through a blinding snowstorm to rescue them, only to find ourselves ambushed in a brutal courtyard battle. Right when things looked darkest, the hunters of Artemis arrived, showering the beast with deadly silver arrows. But before we could secure the victory, Dr. Thorne lunged forward, snatched Annabeth, and dragged her over the edge of a sheer cliff into the dark, roaring abyss below. When we made it safely back to Camp Half-Blood, the stakes became painfully clear. We were joined by Artemis's elite hunters, a fierce, immortal band of maidens led by the goddess Artemis herself. But the tension between the camp veterans and the hunters was instantly electric, sparking constant friction, especially between Thalia and the hunter's proud lieutenant, Zoe Nightshade. Worse still, a heavy, ominous prophecy was delivered from the oracle. It declared that a dangerous quest must be undertaken to track down a rare, ancient monster that could destroy Olympus, and that out of the 5 companions who set out, only 4 would return, with one falling by the hand of a parent. When the goddess Artemis suddenly vanished into the wilderness while tracking that very beast alone, the quest took on a desperate, deeply personal urgency. Against all direct orders and safety protocols, the hunters and campers chose their champions, and a small band set out into the freezing, unforgiving wilderness of the American winter. Our journey was a relentless gauntlet of divine trials and mechanical horrors. We crossed paths with the trickster god Apollo, who gave us a wild, blinding ride in his blazing sun chariot across the sky, and we pushed through the bone-chilling cold of the American Midwest. But danger stalked us at every turn, waiting in the shadows. In the snowy junkyard of the gods, one of our closest companions made a fatal, heartbreaking sacrifice to save the rest of us from an army of prototype automaton monsters, leaving a heavy veil of grief hanging over our heads as we pressed deeper into the unknown. Our path ultimately led us west, all the way to the abandoned mining town of San Francisco and the desolate, freezing slopes of Mount Tamalpais, which mortals called Mount Othrys, the ancient, rising fortress of the Titan Lord Kronos. There, hidden in the shadows of the mountain, we discovered a horrifying truth. Artemis had been captured, forced to hold up the crushing, impossible weight of the celestial sky in place of the Titan Atlas. Worse yet, Annabeth was being held prisoner nearby, suffering under the cruel machinations of Luke and his growing army of rebels. A desperate, all-out final battle erupted at the foot of the mountain. We fought our way through ranks of monsters and hostile guards, but the cost of victory was devastating. Zoe Nightshade, fighting with every ounce of her remaining strength against her own wicked father, Atlas, met a tragic end under the cold, winter stars she loved so dearly. Yet, through incredible courage and quick thinking, we managed to trick Atlas into taking back the crushing burden of the sky, freeing Artemis to unleash her divine fury upon the remaining enemy forces and turning the tide of the battle. Standing victorious but deeply scarred by our losses, we returned to Mount Olympus just as the Winter Solstice Council of the Gods was underway. The Olympians debated our fate, and though tensions remained high and the looming shadow of Kronos grew larger every day, our sacrifice had bought the mortal world a little more time. But as I looked ahead into the coming months, I knew the prophecy was only beginning to unfold, and the hardest trials of my life were still waiting for me in the dark. That's all for the story. If you like this kind of story, please click like and subscribe for more video. Good night.